caught up with Josh Silverman yesterday. He's starting, or has started rather, a really interesting sounding company that's sort of a new take on recruiting for designers, particularly, where he's really sort of focused on building relationships or mediating these relationships between new companies and prospective hires, and providing a sort of a scaffolding, almost like a human scaffolding, for building out a design org within a company, within a startup. And I thought that was really interesting. We talked about how the sort of importance of relationships, which is an interesting contrast to what's sort of happening. I just read a headline of Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, U.S. Fed chair, talking about how hiring has basically stopped, and AI is the culprit. Now, I think that suspect that the actual effectiveness of artificial intelligence as replacements for humans is going to shake out eventually and equilibrate. But we were talking about how there is this sort of attitude still that, like a quaternary sector that is like any kind of knowledge worker, that you can just swap people in and out like you can a factory worker. And there are just so many, it's just so not how it works. And we were talking actually like about how when you reorg and lay a bunch of people off, for example, or you reorg and whatever people were working on just goes poof. It's just it's like if you get 99% of the way done on something, and then something happens like layoffs, reorg, whatever, you lose the entire thing. It just stops, like whatever value you have invested into this endeavor, whatever it is, whatever project it is, it just goes away. And of course, people have stuff in their brains that is not written down, so they're not especially replaceable. And I really think that the kinds of organizations that truly understand this are going to end up being much more successful than the ones that treat knowledge workers like factory workers. And this also goes for AI. So this is something that has been beating around in my head for a while, which is how, and they even say this, right? These AI companies are like, instead of having relationships with people, just have a relationship with us. And what's sort of interesting about that is it's just like this lopsided relationship. Like it's like you've got this counterparty that has like no accountability whatsoever. And so it's like if they get something wrong, it's sort of like, even in the sort of starkest sense, like if you have a human being, like if they get something wrong, like there's something at stake. Whereas like if the AI gets something wrong, there's nothing at stake. There's people are using AI for therapists, for example. It's like a real therapist, like, is kind of rooting for you, like they actually want you to do good, whereas the AI quote unquote chatbot is like it doesn't care what happens to you. And the other thing too is also like the outcomes matter, right? Like they have these people have reputations that they want to protect, and so like they act accordingly. Whereas if you have this sort of the Shoggoth, like the multi-headed Hydra entity that is it's got an endpoint that everybody's attaching to, like, but it doesn't have a single identity, and it certainly doesn't have a a reputation to protect, at least not as a distinct entity, distinct from its creator. But at the same time, it's like that's what they're kind of trying to do, is create this entity that is separate from themselves. Like, oh, the AI did it itself. Like, we don't control it. I mean, we've seen this too, right? Like, we've seen that with the Air Canada chatbots that are, telling people that they get discounts for this or that thing, and and then the company tries not to honor that, saying that like, oh, it's like an employee that has gone rogue, and it's like, well, no, it's just not. And so I kind of think what's gonna have to happen is like an equilibrium, just because these it's gonna what I've been just seeing a lot more of is and sort of definitely like pursuing myself is like who do you want on your team, right? And it kind of reminds me of McLuhan almost, where he's like the sort of whole global village, what have you. Like he was like pretty literal about that, like in the sense that like people are gonna know your business, and you're gonna have your sort of Dunbar number. Although Dunbar obviously is considerably younger than McLuhan, but you're gonna have your sort of tribe more or less, and there's gonna be sort of like factionalization and whatnot. And I mean, I think it's just sort of like how stuff is gonna get organized. It's gonna be like something like Erin Kassane told me, or I don't know if she told me exactly, but I definitely was present when she said it, was that she's like, oh, I just want to work with the people that I want to work with. Like, I want to do cool things, and I want to work with the people that I want to work with, and I don't want to work with people I don't want to work with, and that's going to be kind of like the thing going forward. It's going to be the vibe going forward, I think, for everybody, and it's going to make stuff real weird. Anyway, gonna finish my coffee.